start talking about this. I want to tell you guys that, first of all, Andrea and I welcome any of your feedback. If you've got feedback like, hey, I would really like for y'all to talk about this on Masterclass. I know Andrea did a post in the table a couple weeks ago, and we've been trying to really respond to some of your requests for training. Can I say something else? And she can trim this out later, but for those of y'all listening, because I'm already seeing like, we kind of have a core group of leaders that hop on every week. But if you have a passion for training about something, and I'm not saying this, I'm not calling you an expert. You don't have to be an expert to train on something. In fact, the people who sometimes do the best training are the people who just have like something that they're curious about. And they're like, I love talking about this because I'm always talking about it. Like it doesn't mean you're an expert. But if you have like a passion project that you go, okay, I'm going to pretend I'm Christy Salcido for a minute, but she's like, I can't believe I was so afraid of events. I want to start doing them regularly. I'm like, oh, Christy, you should do a training about that. Okay. And what I mean is so many times y'all are going to be better trainers because you're in the midst of learning about something, whether it's a health topic or a business topic or somewhere in between. So will you let us know? Because like we would love to turn the mic over. And we're actually going to do a little bit of that today. Andrea and I were talking over the weekend with Tina Marie about, hey, how should we focus on Masterclass? And so this is where I want to start, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of my story. When I started Plexus, I was only interested in the products. Like many of you guys, I told Andrea, like, hey, I think I said, I will never sell this, which is so yuck and prideful, but that's really what I did. And I was like, I will never sell this. And I was so confident. I was like, Andrea, don't ever tag me. Don't ever tag me because I am a business owner. At the time, I was a licensed professional counselor and supervisor, and I owned a private practice in Dallas. And I didn't want people thinking that I was now selling like weight loss fad diets or whatever, And so I would have been someone that not only would you have maybe looked at me and gone, well, she doesn't need the income, which I did. I didn't want you to know that. I needed it, and we were praying for extra income, but my pride didn't want you to know that. But two, my first blush with Andrea was, I'm not going to sell. So thank goodness we were good enough friends where that didn't have to, she didn't crumble and die and never mention it to me again. Because the truth was, is she said, well, just so you know, your friend Rachel, who she only knew through me, she was like, your friend Rachel has actually reached out to me about Plexus. And so I also had two other people, because I wasn't going to sell, but I sure wanted to get those products free. And I have always been the kind of person that has just like a little bit of a competitive edge. So if you're like, hey, if you get three people, you rank up, I'm like, well, I'm going to do that because I might not ever post about it, but I'm competitive enough that I want to hit that first rank. That's just my personality. But what I'd like to do today is I want to talk to you about people who work full-time and why they're a great candidate for this business. But I also want you to start not only thinking of people, but I want you to learn how to respectfully approach people who are working full-time. And now listen, most of you guys on the call, like Danielle's at work. She's working full-time. She's exactly who we're talking about today. That was me. I was a therapist. I didn't have a lunch break. And listen, I couldn't like have my cell phone there and just, in my spare time. My cell phone was turned off because hello, who wants to talk to a therapist who's like answering texts during your session? My cell phone was turned off the majority of the day. During lunch, I would quickly hop on, and Andrea and I would talk, and I would talk to some of my team members, and, we would get people signed up, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, I was doing my job late at night and early in the morning. So that's who we want to talk to today. In fact, if someone is listening to the replay because you saw you want to build a business while you're working full time and you saw we were training on that today, then I want to tell you it's one of my favorite things to train on because people think it's not possible. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I think people who have some kind of job, whether it's full-time, part-time, or they're working outside of Plexus, they get it. And they sometimes are in the most productive season of their life because they want to build time freedom. I've talked to so many Plexus people who worked, got their income to a place where they could kind of retire, and retirement kicked their butt because it's almost like they had too much time and they didn't know how to manage it. So one thing I want to say, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the replay, if you have a job or you're doing something that requires a lot of your time and you're fitting Plexus into the nooks and the spaces in your life, good, because it's that kind of multitasking that honestly helps people be successful. So that was my story. Like I said, I was working full time. I owned a private practice. Let me tell you, I'm just going to start with me, and then I want you to hear from Kristen and Danielle and maybe some others if you're on. But one thing that mattered the most was dreaming and vision casting. And the person that I was vision casting with was my husband. He got it even before I did. He had been praying so much for supplemental income that when Plexus came along, I was dubious. I was skeptical. I wasn't sure. And he kept saying, you can do this. You want to know what else we did? We got our butts to a meeting within the first 2 to 3 months of our Plexus business. In fact, I joined in January. Russ joined right behind me. And we went to a large Plexus meeting during spring break. We actually went to 2. Andrea was at both of them. And that built not only my belief, but it built my husband's belief, because he was what we call my top shareholder, right? He had the most equity in this business that I was developing. And he was the one that kept saying, if she can do it, you can do it, Becky. If she can do it. And I was doubtful, like, babe, I don't have time. And he'd be like, I'll help you. Like, hey, tonight after dinner, I'll put the kids down. And that was so massive because I had little kids when I started. So I would say that one of the very top things you can do if you are working and you've got a dream and a plan, cast vision for yourself. And here's the key. Your why has to be bigger than where you are right now. You know, if you've got someone who's on your team and sharing, you need to have a why and a vision for your life that will stick with you even when people aren't sharing on your team, even when no one else is recruiting but you, or when no one else is getting on calls but you, or you're the only person hosting the event. Your why needs to have a backup plan for the rainy day, okay? Because that's going to happen in your business. And you're going to need to be, it's not going to be about like, oh, I'm just inspired. It's going to be like, nope, I have a plan for even when things dry up. I'm going to keep doing this. Because guys, this is a long-term business plan. So what breaks my heart sometimes is people will say, I need to get to senior Ruby. And then I can leave this job and then I'm going to build up. That's great. That is so wonderful. And I'm glad you do that. But the danger is if people don't get there in time, they go, well, I guess this isn't meant to be. Friend, you've already got, like, you have supplemental income build up, whether you are a silver, because if you're a silver, you have supplemental income. There's 3 customers under you that are ordering every month on top of your order. That is money coming into your pocket, okay? Whether you're silver, senior silver, gold, you have created supplemental income. If you can do that, then you have plenty of time. You can grow that. I promise. Do not quit. I see people be like, well, if I don't do it in this amount of time, and then they walk away. And I'm like, so dumb. You have a long-term plan set up. You can do this while you do anything else, okay? Here's how, let me give you some of my tips and tricks, and then I'm going to pass the mic over to Kristen, and then she's going to share with Danielle. And by the way, if any of you guys, because I see Jess Gross is on here too, if any of you guys have some of your own tips and tricks that you can share, or maybe you did what we're talking about, then please, like, we're going to have time for you, okay? One of the key things after you've got your vision and your why set aside, you've got your dream, you've shared it with your husband or whoever else is going to really hold you accountable. I would say having someone on your team that you work with, like a partner, your top leader, even if he or she is not sure yet, having someone that you check in with frequently. Okay. And please, they don't have to have the same passion that you do. They might not even have the same dream, but share your why with them. Share it with your sponsor and share it with some of your top leaders, because there's something like contagious about that. When you are sharing your vision for your life with someone else, it holds you accountable, but it also shows them what's possible. And most people they're not dreaming anymore. People are just trying to hold on to their income right now. People are just trying to like stay inside their family budget. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So share it with someone else. And then I want you to grab a hold of some of the systems that are already in place. We'll come back to this in a minute, but just so you know, posting and talking to people, the reason why it's a requirement is because it's free advertising. So if you're not taking advantage of your own social media and sharing and frequently talking about it, and I promise, if you get in the head game of like, oh, people are so tired of me sharing about Plexus, they aren't. You know what? They're literally not seeing it. They are not seeing it. What, A?
I jump in. Okay, so yesterday, y'all, I've been sharing Plexus for 11 years, and I don't know that I've missed a whole lot of days about sharing Plexus in that time on social media. Yesterday, I asked people, what's one reason that you're not buying Plexus? And two of them said money, which is typical, right? The third person was don't know enough. And I was like, what have I been doing on here? So in case you think that Becky and I have explained it enough to our audiences in 11 years, we haven't. Therefore, I promise you, you have not explained the products, the business opportunity, gut health, reset, whatever it is. I promise you, there is somebody out there today watching your social media that's like, oh, fascinating that they have this what is it called? What's our new drink? Restore. They have this new drink. I haven't even heard of it yet. And you're like, what have I been doing? So I just want to say, if you think you've talked enough about Plexus, you haven't. And if someone is annoyed, that's like a one-off. Like it's truly like people here or there. It's not the generality of your thing. And I got a message from someone today that said, thank you so much for sharing what you share about Ella, about my life, because it has given my husband and I perspective on our daughter, who's only 1.5, but we know we're running down this road you've run. So you sharing outside of Plexus daily is also blessing other people. So I just want to say what Becky is saying is show up bigger every today, tomorrow, than what you maybe have been, because you have in your head people are annoyed with you. And I just want to say you're giving a gift of either wisdom that God has given you in other areas outside of Plexus, but also people really don't understand what products you're taking and why. They really don't understand what they do. And they really, truly do not understand when Becky says supplemental income. If you haven't written down that note at some point on like your sheet of paper or your post-it note this morning, I just want you to say, like, you need to go look up when she says supplemental income, what does that mean? What does it mean in the marketplace right now? What are people doing for supplemental income? Like, go set a 15-minute timer and go research supplemental income, because that's massive. And I promise you, your audience doesn't really understand what you have in that business. Okay, sorry, that was just thoughts.
No, I mean, I literally thought of you because Andrea is always such an example to me, excuse me, of someone who she just doesn't run out of ability to talk about it over and over again. And it's usually when I see my team members, or even when I've been in a phase where I kind of stall out from posting, it's because I started worrying about what people were thinking about, or I was like, oh, people haven't been responding to my posts. But I'm telling you, I'm on social media every day. I don't see posts. I don't see people talking about Plexus. Also, just a hint for you. Sometimes Facebook will only show me Plexus people. And God bless you, I love all of you. But I will hide people so that I'm actually seeing the people I want to interact with. And listen, it needs to be non-Plexus friends. So I just give you permission to go through and like mute. You can mute people for 30 days or hide people. Because the other thing that I see team members getting in their heads about is they compare their posts to other people. So with that, let me remind you of just one part of our system. And when I'm talking about a system, I'm talking about ways to help you stay active in your business that don't require you to do all the heavy lifting. The top one is Rally Chat. So just type a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about when I say Rally Chat. I need to kind of read the room and figure out, okay, who's doing this and who's not. All right, for any of you, feels like most of you know what we're talking about. Good, praise God. For those of you who might be listening to the replay and you're like, what's Rally Chat? Rally Chat is a messenger group, okay, called Rally Chat. And it is a no response, no reply group that you can be added to. And every day, we're going to share in Rally Chat. Here's something to share. It will include photos or graphics. So if you are laboring, like, what do I say today? It's a really easy, hey, say this. And not only is it something to share, something to say, but it also includes something to learn. Okay. So it's really simple. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I rarely share what Rally Chat is sharing, but only because I'm trying to I've got an agenda right now on what I'm trying to talk about. A lot of it's perimenopause. If you follow me, you know, because it's my story right now. And I'm talking about that. But I see my team sharing Rally Chat, and it makes me happy because I know I do not want anyone in Plexus to be like, I don't know what to say anymore. And that's where, hey, Rally Chat's going to jog your memory and give you a chance to know what you want to say, what you want to share. And listen, for someone new, it's so great because they're actually learning a lot while they read through that chat, and we give them something to go work on themselves or something to learn. It's so great. And it keeps it encapsulated so that someone isn't spending hours going, oh, I'm not sure what to look up today, or I'm not sure what to share or what to say. So Rally Chat is the first thing. Second part of our super simple way to work your business. What do we have every Monday night that is backed by corporate, put together by corporate? Tell me in the chat if you know what I'm talking about, that you can invite not only prospects to, but you can invite team members, customers that you've had for years, people that you've had conversations with about like, hey, if you ever want to work this business, yes, it's the What is Plexus call on Monday nights where we talk about, we share testimonies and we talk about the business. Okay. So you've got people sharing their story of how they came into Plexus, why they decided to start using it as a business. It's really inspirational. It's 20 minutes long. People just click, they can watch or listen. They don't even have to be worried about being muted. It just does it all. And it's great. It's every Monday night. Okay. So that is something that you plug someone into. You invite them, you go, hey, I'm going to give you this link. I want you to listen in. They go, oh, I don't know if I'm free. Okay, you can just take this link and you can watch the replay, and then you follow up with them. What did you think? Tell me the top 2 things you learned on that call. Andrea is sharing tonight's Tracy Fogel. She has led at Gold School. I think she spoke at convention last year. She's great. That will be a great call tonight. Okay. And always in Rally Chat, we are helping remind you that you can talk about this. Okay. So number 1 is Monday night. What's on Thursday night? Pausing to watch the chat to see if anyone's paying attention. Thank you, Danielle. If Monday night is Meet Plexus, like meet us as a company, Thursday night is Meet the Products. Every Thursday night, same situation, 20 minutes. You're going to hear from at least one like health testimonial. Someone at corporate will talk about our products. They'll talk about the fact that they're innovative, they're clean, we're the original gut health company. They'll share the basics. Someone can hop in, they're going to listen, they're going to learn something. I promise every week it's been so good. And it's another chance for you to go, hey, I knew that you were curious about like getting your kids on gut health. What'd you learn from that call? And you follow up with them. So these are really simple ways that you can work your business. However, will you please note that both Monday night and Thursday night require that you reach out to someone. So you can share about it. I will tell you the difference when I share about the call versus when I actually reach out to someone and go, I would love for you to listen in on this. And I'm going to follow back up with you. I think you're going to learn a lot in 20 minutes. Turn it on while you're doing the dishes, turn it on while you're, washing your face or whatever, getting ready for bed. And then I'll follow up with you tomorrow. But what these two calls do is they invite third-party validation. Okay, meaning someone outside of you is talking to your friend or your connection about the company and the products. And it's really quick. And honestly, if I invite someone to Monday night, I'm going to be like, hey, if you've got time, turn around and listen to this Thursday night one, because it's like double validation all in one week. And the calls are geared to have them be ready for like, what's the next step you want to take? Okay. So those are three simple things: rally chat, Monday night call, and Thursday night call. Really, really simple. And guess what the greatest part of it all is? You did not have to go anywhere and find this information. We are trying to help anybody who's working or just simply busy. We're trying to keep it so easy and simple for you. And then the only thing you really have to do is actually talk to people. You got to have the conversation at church. You got to reach out to the person that you work out with. You got to send a message. But I don't want you to get like, I want you to figure out how to do these three things, and then we'll train you on how to send messages. In fact, we're going to work on it today. Okay. I really want you to hear from multiple other people. So is Chris, yeah, where did Kristen go? Oh, she's there. Okay. For a second, Kristen, I was like, let me introduce you to Kristen McKee. Okay, so Kristen is my level 3. We literally met years ago. And what I knew about her and liked about her from the very beginning is I knew that she was like me. She was a working professional. She was an OT. I knew that she was busy when she started the products. Like, she was super savvy. She's still super savvy. Since then, like me, we've both retired from our professional careers, and she's a mama, and I'll let her tell some of her story. But what I want you to hear is why it was also attractive to her, why working people want to add a second source of income to their lives. So Kristen, tell us a little bit about like how you got started. And then I'm so ready for you to share some of your ideas that have come up for how you did this business while you worked full time.
Okay. Whew, I just got really nervous. Um, okay, so it was kind of funny that it was kind of cool that you asked me to kind of reflect back, because I also did a lot of reflecting too back at leaders retreat. And I remember one thing coming up when I had my very first job. I was working at Parkland Hospital in downtown Dallas, and it would be like an hour and a half commute. I'd get there at like 7:30 in the morning. I'd get off at 4, but I wouldn't get home till like 6:30 sometimes. And I remember we had a very close friend of the family pass away, and I did not have any PTO. And because he was not family, I had to pretty much beg for the time off to go to the funeral. And I remember sitting there being like, this is not how I want to live. I don't want to live in the way that I have to go and ask somebody permission. And I just kind of remembered that story back at leaders retreat, and I feel like God put it in my life at that point, because I feel like we always kind of get down about ourselves. Like, are we doing enough? Are we where we are supposed to be? And I really think in that moment, that memory coming back was like, absolutely. Look where you are. Look where these relationships have taken you. These products have taken you, this business and all of those things. And so I think that's where it started. And when I joined, I really just wanted to get my products covered. I then got my very first paycheck within the first month, and I think it was a little over $300. And my husband and I always wanted to be debt free. That was our main goal. And so he was like, we need to put that towards student loans. And so we made the minimum payment plus some, until I think between mine and his, we paid off $50,000 worth of loans in that year that I joined Plexus. Now, that wasn't just Plexus. It was getting rid of Netflix. It was getting rid of all the things. Like, we really were very savvy. Um, and then it became kind of what she just said earlier, a supplemental income, or more like a third income, maybe. John went through a couple changes in his career, so it kind of helped us in those seasons. It also became savings. It was when I needed new tires. So again, it was still that mindset of we are living this debt-free lifestyle. Then we decided, it was right before COVID, we wanted to take a trip to Greece, and I had a big lump sum saved up of Plexus money, and we went to Greece, and we didn't put it on the credit card. And again, it just, I mean, that's kind of where it started with Plexus. And then we were continued to be really, really smart with it. And then we decided that we were done being in McKinney. We were done. This was right in smack dab middle of COVID. God told us, this is not where you're supposed to be. I was struggling with severe anxiety, with my job, with everything. We really wanted a family, but it wasn't happening. And so we just thought, okay, we're going to sell our house to this couple that we met at a coffee shop. And the last 3 years, it's helped me stay home. So not only the financial blessing that it's continuing to give us every month, but what the business has allowed us to achieve even these past years. And so it's so important when I talk to people, like, yes, it's going to help you now, but what could it do for you in the future? And so I've been home for 3 years with Lyra. I've missed my job terribly. So I did just pick up a PRN position at a hospital in Shreveport. But it goes back to what I told you the other day, or from the other day when I was at Leaders Retreat. And I thought about that moment where I don't want to ask permission to take off. Like, I still want to do everything that gives me joy. I still want to work, right? We still have to work, but I don't want to live to work. And so the fact that I now have that ability to kind of choose has been a blessing. And it's so crazy. 10 years ago, I never would have thought we would have been here. And I have a healthy little girl at home. It's awesome. And so, sorry, that was a lot in just like a little bitty explanation. But I was thinking today about what were some of those activities that I did that helped me get here, especially in the busiest, most stressful time of my life. Working over 40 hours a week, bringing work home with me. I woke up early, and I hosted power hours in the morning. I know Jessica Gross is on here. I mean, we would all literally still be in bed. We'd have our laptops pulled up. We did not have internet at our house because that was something that we did not want to pay for. So I used the hotspot on my phone, and we would sit there and work for probably a good 30 minutes to an hour. And then I'd go to work. That was something. And again, I just kept thinking, this is going to get me just one step closer to whatever God has planned for the future. Right. The second thing that I wrote down was, I have a notebook paper system that I have been doing ever since the beginning. And do I have it right here? Every single month, I tell you, I can go back years. Every single month, I start a brand new sheet of paper. And these are the people that I'm talking to about Plexus. I will, if I'm like talking to somebody, from 3 months ago, and I haven't talked to them in 3 months, you by golly know that I'm going to be putting them on March list once I reach out to them again. And so I'm color coded. I have my little brackets. I write my little dates. I can do a training on this one day. I would love to. But yes, I think, the point of that is, find something that works for you and stick with it. I always had my stuff with me. So I still do always have my stuff with me. I would always bring my notebook to work. Back when Lyra was not sleeping at all, no naps. I think she just had major FOMO. I would always have my work bag with me, and we would go park in a random parking lot. I've probably parked in every single parking lot here in Marshall and had my computer up and doing the work, because I think that also, to be honest with you, as a mom and moving, I just heard, are y'all okay? Sorry. Moving and not having anybody here, I think that also helped my sanity, is having this business. And then one more thing was just being consistent on the products. I made the products just fit my life and be that, and that's just what kept me sharing, because if I'm going to take it, I might as well share it with others. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. By the way, you should follow Kristen on Instagram because she does such a good job Okay, Kristen, I heard Lyra, so
Yes.
you're getting ready to check. Will you introduce Danielle, since you are Danielle's sponsor?
Will.
Because these girls together, they get it.
Yes. So Danielle and I, it's crazy. We always tend to forget sometimes. We went to high school together, but I think it's because we graduated with a class of over 1,000 people. So we didn't really know each other. But yeah, she started the products. I know she'll tell you her story. But now she's here working full time. She's got 3 precious babies. And yeah, I love doing this with her. She's so fun. So here you go, Danielle, it's all yours.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate that. Literally on the leaders retreat cruise, everyone's like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Deer Park." And I'm like, "Oh, wait, Kristen's from Deer Park too." Like, we're both from the same town outside of Houston. But it's funny that you say that. we were more acquaintances, and she was that annoying girl that just kept posting about Plexus. I was like, "What is this? Like, what is this stuff?" But it was one of those things where I didn't have major health issues, but I always had an upset stomach, and just like I thought that was a norm. And I was like, why is this happening? I don't know. And then one day I said, oh, my stomach hurts again. And my husband like looked at me, he's like, when is your stomach not hurting? I was like, okay, this is a problem. Like, we got to fix it. So, you know what? I got back on Facebook and I scrolled to find that annoying girl. And I found her, started reading her stories. I was like, you know what? I got to reach out to her. And so I did. And then that was 7 years ago. And I would use the products, and it took her 4 years of following up with me to say, hey, are you ready to pay for your products? And I was like, no, because I don't want to be that annoying girl. No, I don't want to be you. But I did. And she was right. And the rest is history. But so for me, I have been working in retail for the past 17 years. And having a job is just something that's like, it's what we do. My husband is a dentist, and he is also very realistic. He is very frugal. He is very, I call him a debt-ophobe. Um, if I told you how long it took him to get out of his student loans from college, like, you would be amazed, because that was his number one priority. Like, I will not have debt. And so for me, I knew that I had to be contributing to our family funds. So I started to pay for the products. I saw what it was doing for my friends and family around me. And I saw that it was pulling in some of that income for me that I could use to not take away from all the amazing things that my husband was doing for our family. I saw him working his butt off. I saw him doing all these things for us and making sure that we were set up to live a life in the future. And for me, I didn't want to feel guilty about going to get my nails done. I didn't want to feel guilty for putting my kids like in every sport they wanted to be in. Right now, they're both in gymnastics. They're both on team gymnastics, and that is expensive. So for me to have that almost ammunition in my back pocket of being like, it's okay, I got this, we got this, because I I have Plexus money that I can pay for gymnastics, and we're okay. So that's kind of where my push for it came from. My why shifted a little bit over the last couple years, is that I've seen people giving back, and I've always felt that nature within me, and I want to be that person. I want to be able to give back. I found that a lot of the people I talked to were friends and family who were really sick and who needed something, but they couldn't afford it. So if that meant for me, I blessed them with their first package. That's what I did. And that's just me. I'm not telling everyone to do that, but that's what I felt in my heart and compelled to do. And so by having that extra Plexus income, I was able to do that without dipping into my family funds that, we're working so hard to try to create for ourselves, and not taking away from my family, I guess. So that's a little bit about my story and why I'm pushing to do this business. My systems are a little bit similar to Kristen, and you'll probably guess why, because she loves a good paper system, and she kept telling me, you need to get a notebook paper. You need a notebook paper. So one of the things I do every month is I actually have this calendar, and it's just like the month, It's just the days. And if you look at March, hold on. I don't know if y'all can see that. There's like literally nothing written. There's nothing. But it's my visual reminder that I've got something to do. And here's what it is. My sheet of notebook paper. So I write down I go in my back office and instead of my potentials, I write down what's in my back office. So I say, okay, these are my subs. These are the people who had subs or have subs that are pushed out. And then I write down the date. Then on the back, here are my customers who are my order when they want. So they don't have subs on, but I know that they're my people and I make sure to talk to them. And then I have a column over here for like potentials or that I'm talking to or anyone new. And like Kristen, I color code. So my new people are in green. And then once my people actually order, they go in yellow. So I know that it's committed. And then I just kind of keep track on the bottom of where my points are. And I do this daily because I want to make sure that in my brain, I know where I am all the time. So that I know I can say, okay, I think this is where my points are going to end the month. Here's where I really need to focus. Here, I need to really reach out to those people who don't have their subs on and be like, hey, what's going on? What's working? Do we need to change something up? So that's kind of how I start my month. And I showed you that blank calendar only because I do have like all those extra little notebooks, papers taped in here. Like you can see all those like notes. So I may not actually have anything on the calendar, but my papers are in there. So that's kind of where I am, my systems. I'm a color coder like Kristen. We were challenged to make a list of 60 people. I think it was Leaders Retreat. And so I got my old convention notebook out and I literally just started writing names down and they're color coded. So I've got about 3 pages. I ended up writing down probably 100 people, 104, and they're color coded with new reach outs, who I want to talk to about the business and who I'm going to follow up with. And so I just started going down my list and just started checking them off. And that's kind of just what you have to do. And you don't have to get through it all in one day. Just do a little bit at a time when you have time. For me, I utilize Rally Chat. I love, love, love Rally Chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I was one of those people that Becky would talk about, like, I don't know what to post. I'm sitting here looking at Kristen's Instagram and it's amazing. And I'm not like that. Like, I got her paper method down, but I don't have her Instagram method down. So I need someone to tell me what to do. And it's been amazing. So first thing in the morning, because sometimes I have some moments during the day to do things and sometimes I don't. So first thing in the morning, I usually pick the testimony, or like today was the sale. So I post that first thing. Come lunchtime, I'm gonna post a product or something. And then in the evening, I usually get my toddler down for a snack and then I go make my reel or I go make like my personal thing before everyone else gets home and like goes bananas. So I try to at least post 3 times a day. And I'm telling you, it has to be done fast because I don't have the time. So utilize Rally Chats, utilize those systems as best that you can. They're there and they're amazing. Just tweak them. I recently started using Chat GPT. I don't know why I was terrified of it, but it's amazing. So when I was sending these messages that were in here, I said, okay, here's my base message. I'm sending it to this person. So can you tweak it for a stay-at-home mom of 3 who's looking for an income? And it wrote it. Okay, thank you. I even said thank you a couple times. I was like, can you tweak it for a working mom who maybe is a little bit older, who's going through perimenopause or, whatever it may be. So, and it's super easy. You put in a sentence like, okay, sure. How does this sound? I'm like, sounds great. Thanks. And then I, copy and paste it over. And it's been very, very helpful. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I do. I'm a little scatterbrained. So I think having a system has helped a lot. Find your system, whatever that may be. I will say sometimes if you're like if you're a jewel, you may not have enough paper to do this. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in your back office, when you are looking at the dashboard of all your people, you can actually export your whole list of people, and it has like their names, their phone numbers, their emails, like everything. Export it to Excel. You can hide whatever you don't want to see, but then you can filter it. If you don't know how to filter it, I can train. This is what I do all day. I'm an Excel, I live in Excel sheets. So I guess I can train on that. Sign me up. Filter it, color code it, put it, your list of priorities. You can rank it by your subscriptions, who don't have subscriptions, when their last order was, and then highlight. I mean, if you don't have time to write it down, get a different pen, or yellow. Yellow, I need to follow up. Green is my new. Blue is whatever. Whatever works for you, just find a system. That's really it. Just find a system, stick to it, and don't make it complicated.
So good. So good. And that's why you have good retention, Danielle, is because you are a numbers girl and you are a spreadsheet girl and you're following up with people. You're thinking about them and you've got their name written down. And I'm excited for you. I know you've got some big goals. What I love is that, and I really want anyone who's listening and going, I don't know if I can do this while I work full time. I promise you can. In fact, I swear sometimes it is daily going to that job where you're like, I have a plan to work myself out of this situation. I can't even tell you what a motivator that is for people. Okay. So I'm going to pass to Andrea in a minute, but here's something I want to talk with you about that's so important. When you are approaching someone who is working full-time and you're wanting to see if they're interested in adding something like Plexus, the best approach that I've found is really honor the fact that they're working and don't assume that they want to retire. But what you can assume in this climate is that people are feeling the pressure of the standard of living, the cost of living, the cost of home prices, the interest rates. Everyone is feeling that. And you can lean into the value, not of, because I mean, gosh, back when Andrea and I got started, it was the Wild West. And we would literally ask people like, do you want to quit? Do you want to quit being a teacher? It was rude. Sometimes people said yes. But like for me, I never wanted to quit my job. That was totally a God thing. And I mean, like thank the Lord he could see that there were some changes coming to our lives that would require me to retire. But that was never my dream. I had my dream job, but we needed money. And we didn't have the time to add a second job to our schedule as two working professionals with multiple kids at home. And, you know, our whole days were full. And so what you want to explain is that Plexus is something that can maximize what little time you have and make it work for you. So there's a way to approach people, and I really do think it is honoring the fact that they have a busy and full life. This is specifically for your friends that are working, whether it's part-time, full-time, whether they own the business or they're working for someone else, no matter what they're doing. I think it's so important to recognize, like, I know you're busy. And what we want to do is train you in how to respond to people's objections, because I'm just curious, how many of you guys have heard, I don't think I have time to add that to my plate? Okay. And if you're thinking like, oh yeah, she does work full time, you'll be quick to agree with that. Like, oh yeah, you probably aren't a candidate for this. And the truth is that anyone who's busy needs to understand that Plexus is an opportunity that, what am I trying to say, Andrea? Because I'm like missing the phrase, it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's the idea that time is money, that time is your most valuable resource. And what Plexus will do is,
Well,
I can't get my
let me
tongue
ask
on.
you the question and see if this helps come. Like, how much would it have required for you to have doubled your income at the clinic?
That's
Like,
a great question. And listen, and at the time, like I was a working therapist and my husband was an attorney. We were both paid by the hour. Okay. And so my income was directly tied to how many hours I could work in a week. And by the way, therapy is a really stressful job. So 30 clients was an insane load. That, because 30 clients means that I'm also, doing unpaid hours of like notes and insurance and following up with doctors and following up with someone's parents and blah, 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 all that stuff. So that was the maximum, utter maximum. And that would mean that I left before my kids woke up and then I got home after 5 at night, 5 or 6 at night. So just in time to like feed them and put them to bed. So it was a really shallow life. And what you want to help people learn is that Plexus can free up more time for you.
I mean, imagine the fact that someone like a Becky could even like decrease her client load to 20, give herself more time,
I
not
did.
that time with Plexus, but even if she replaced half that time with Plexus, like say she's now saving 10 hours a week and she invests 2 of those hours back into Plexus, the ability for her to double her income with her 20 patients now with those 2 hours of Plexus are massive. I don't think Kristen mentioned it, but she's an occupational therapist. That was her career. And same exact thing. You can only see so many patients as an occupational therapist. In fact, I remember when when Ella has always seen all of her therapists her whole life, that it was almost like the running joke therapists have the same kind of schedule that teachers have, where you're like, I have to go to the bathroom. They don't give us a gap between patients to go to the bathroom, but can't, like we had certain therapists that we knew she's gonna go to the bathroom before she sees us because we're the only ones that don't care. I'm like, go to the back, go eat something, go give yourself something to drink before you see, I'll take 2 minutes out of our schedule because it's a demanding job and you only get paid for the clients that you're seeing. And PS, just like teachers and therapists, whether you're a mental health therapist or a physical, body therapist, you only get paid when you're seeing patients. You actually don't get paid for all the other work that you do, the researching and all of those things. So it's the time freedom, the trading time for money thing is a real thing. If you can wrap your head around it, that's why I said research supplemental income a little bit, because that is the biggest difference. Is there are people out there that are good at we want Becky Pages out there talking to our kids in a therapy seat. We want Kristen McKee's out there doing occupational therapy, but we want them doing it at the highest level they can. And actually the highest level is usually seeing less patients. Like I would rather my chiropractor see less patients and spend more time with me, whenever I have his appointment, then it's like back to back to back. And I know he's rushing in and out. Or same thing with a doctor. I mean, if you haven't sat in a pediatrician's waiting room, like you just haven't experienced life. We've all waited on doctors. Okay, Danielle, I was going to ask you.
I was going to say that that's kind of one reason I didn't touch on this, but I talked about how hard my husband works and how hard, like he loves his job. He loves his job, but it's very demanding. It's a lot of stress owning your own business. It's a lot of stress trying to please people when people don't think that dentists are real doctors. DDS, in case anyone didn't know, and I didn't know until like 2 years ago, and I've been married to him for 15 years, is Doctor of Dental Surgery. Okay. Anyone who didn't know that, I didn't know that. Anyway, they're doctors and they get stressed out because people don't listen to them. My point is I want to take a day away from him. Like if I can provide less hours where he can come home at 3:30 or 4 instead of 6 o'clock, or if he can not have to work on Fridays, like that is another end goal for me, because he has worked so hard to get to where he is now. Like I want to be able to help him, relieve some of that stress as we go into these later years of our life.
Okay, so let's spend about 10 minutes talking about how this can actually work for people. I'm going to do a smidge of a story only because she's not on right now, but Ellen Ford was a great example of this. And it's a little bit of what Kristen was talking about. She would wake up in the morning and in her car from her house to her office, she would listen to whatever training we had going on. She would so is your person queued up for these trainings, these Monday masterclasses on their drive? They could literally listen to half of it on the way there and half of it on the way home. Like first thing I would say is, are they listening to Monday masterclass? Are they listening to a podcast? I think Lead Her Ship by Brittany Howard is amazing. I can't remember the name of it. Someone drop it in the chat, of Jessica Heffley's. If this is someone who struggles with the whole money part of I did not struggle with that, but there are people who struggle with money. And so Jessica Heffley's podcast is a great podcast for that. So are you giving them things to listen to? Like the first thing I would say is every single person in your back office who wants to work this business should be listening to something. If they are potential, get them the recordings of the Monday and Thursday night calls and listen to one Monday night call on the way to work and one Thursday night call on the way home from work. They're listening to, for 20 minutes, they're listening to people talk about the business and the business freedom, and they're on repeat. If they're listening to multiple Monday night calls, they're hearing the corporate like heart of our company. And then on Thursday nights, they're listening to the heart of our products. Could you imagine at the beginning of your business if you had listened to all the Thursday night calls and understood the products and what they could do for people so much better? So I really want to encourage you to have things that people are listening to. Also, what are they doing at the breaks of their business? So businesses offer smoke breaks. I wouldn't suggest taking a smoke break, but if your company offers it, take a 10-minute break. Everyone else is going outside to smoke a cigarette, and go in the break room and send 3 messages. Like, you're allowed the same break time everybody else is, just utilize it differently. Ellen Ford used every single lunch break to sit in her car in a parking garage and either get on a call, run through her list, just like the list Danielle was just talking about. She sacrificed lunch out with the girls or sitting in the break room with everybody else to actually get some work done. Now, I will say lots of teachers have recruited people by being in the teacher's break room during lunchtime instead of being at their desk doing desk stuff. So just give them, like, say, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I want you at your, I want you in the break room with other teachers. Tuesday, Thursday, I think you need to be at your desk and you need to be like eating your lunch and running through your list. I do think that it is hard, and everybody will say, I mean, I think Becky or Kristen would say, "What, on my lunch break, I was writing client notes. On my, at the, I would go in early to do insurance adjustments, or I would stay late to make sure that I had followed up with 3 more people in your actual job." And that is your job. So you have to honor what they are paid to do by the school district or the medical facility or whatever. Like, you have to honor that. But I think sometimes people actually aren't looking for those breaks and gaps. So ask permission. Can I speak into this and ask you some hard questions about your schedule and see if maybe there is a gap you aren't finding? So ask permission to find a gap for them. I'm going to ask all of you to actually time block out when you're going to invite people to the call tonight. Because when you time block, of like, tell me in the chat, are you paper calendar or electronic calendar? Curious. I need paper calendar to see big picture, and I need electronic calendar to actually like keep me, okay, both. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of both. To keep me like, I run every single thing I do through my electronic calendar. But I have to have big picture on paper of like, here's what March looks like, here's what April looks like. So I think you have to make sure, I am not kidding, that if you use an electronic calendar, then your Monday should have, mine's color coded by whose calendar it is, like the 15-minute session of inviting people to the call tonight. Like, then go ahead and on Thursday, follow up with Monday people and invite them to Thursday call, or whatever you want to do it. If you want to do it on Wednesday, if you will time block out how you do your business, it is easier to tell someone else how to time block that out for themselves. If you aren't doing it, it's almost impossible to train somebody else to do. So I would really encourage you, if it's just one thing or 2 things this week, to put it in a calendar and commit to it for that 15 minutes. Set a timer, turn do not disturb on, and like get done whatever it is. Okay. To focus time block. Daily tasks, 3 things. Start 3 to 5 new conversations, not necessarily about Plexus, just conversations. So if you want to give someone some IPA, some income producing activity, it is start 3 to 5 new conversations, follow up with your prospects, and post or engage on social media. All of y'all are probably doing that. The people on your team saying they need to make $500 this month are probably not doing those 3 things. When people say I'm doing everything, they're probably not actually doing all 3 of those three things consistently 5 days a week. Okay, leveraging small pockets of time, using lunch breaks, commutes if possible, and waiting periods. I almost always send a message, make a post, respond to a conversation, whatever, in the parking lot of the grocery store, avoiding going into the grocery store. And if you go to a gym, there's a really good chance you've spent 15 minutes avoiding going into your gym by doing anything else in your car. And so I just make that effective instead of scrolling. Challenge yourself. I'm not going to scroll before I go in, but I am going to still waste that time by doing something effective for my business. I don't do this well. Does anyone batch and schedule media posts on a weekly basis? I do not enjoy batching. I actually love live posting. You will almost never see me latergram. Like I will never post something from like 3 days ago. I'll probably never even post anything from like the day before. I live post my whole life. But a lot of people, Danielle, will you throw your information in the chat? Sarah Myers is asking. Oh, there you go. But I will very rarely, but for people that are busy and that work functionally this way, help them batch post. And you can go to ChatGPT, like Danielle was talking about, and saying, here's who I am, here's what I like, here's what my week looks like, here's my calendar, help me batch post my week. And it will literally tell you what to do with reels and post on Instagram and post on Facebook. You can be super, super detailed with ChatGPT to help you come up with a calendar for your week. Use a simple follow-up system. Danielle gave you a great one. If that one doesn't work for you, figure out what does. You figure out what system works for you. I could give you 5 different systems and none of those 5 could work for you. You're going to have to figure out what your own follow-up system looks like. It will not look like mine, and it probably will not look like Becky's if we had follow-up systems. Automate when possible. Tools like Facebook Scheduler, which you can't do on your personal, but you can do on your team pages. Setting reminders. Y'all, setting reminders is huge for products. Every single one of your new customers should have a reminder on their own phone, like a timer, like, hey, remember every day, every morning at 7:30, you're going to take these pills, and you write that all in. But set a reminder for yourself to check in with Kathy and see how her day 1 is going, or see if how her reminder schedule is going. I think Becky and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, like started keeping each other accountable on like product stuff. Like, wasn't there like something recently where Becky was like helping Kristen? Maybe not. Y'all look at me like I'm crazy. But I thought there was something where it was like Kristen, somebody was having a hard time taking their products. Oh, I know for sure it was someone on Amber Volbato's team was doing it with Kathy Pagliaro. They were literally tagging each other every single day when they had their pink drink. They would literally just post a picture of it and tag each other, and that was it. It was like, we have done our pink drink, but for some reason I thought it was everybody else. Okay, ignore me. But come up with a way to make sure people are actually taking their products every day. Engaging in Facebook groups. Okay, I know that anybody been in a Facebook group like the table for longer than, I don't know, 5 years? Yeah, okay, we all have. Welcome to the safety of being in the exact same Facebook group for years and years. If you aren't finding a Facebook group within Plexus and engaging in it, I want to encourage you, because that's also where you're going to add people who are interested in the business. Wherever you're engaging is where you're going to add them. And then wherever you are engaging, other people will start to engage, and that actually pours third-party validation into your people. We used to, when paychecks would come out, we would say, what's their paycheck covering this month? And I'm not kidding, 50 comments. Now we do it and it's like 4. Y'all aren't having that conversation anywhere probably. And if you're not having that conversation anywhere, the potentials or the new brand ambassadors that you've added to those pages are not seeing that conversation. So I want to challenge you within that time block, 5 minutes, but figure out what 2 or 3 pages within Plexus that you are actually help your business. If you're on Jewel Heist, you should be engaging in Jewel Heist. If you are on the table, you should be engaging in the table. Like if you love Gut Glam, and Gut Glam has been somewhere which is our customer page, that has really helped you, you should be engaging in Gut Glam through the add, tag, and message. Find somewhere where you're adding people to the page. Are you adding people to a page? And where you're engaging in that page. And only 5 minutes a day. Do not spend 30 minutes scrolling back through the table. 5 minutes. Okay. We're there. Set boundaries to prevent burnout. You have to honor other people's boundaries too. So find out what their boundaries are. Ask them. Like, hey, Becky Page, why don't you ever respond to me after 9 p.m.? Oh, you turn your do not disturb on, I think specifically for me? Okay, thank you. Like early in our business, we are such good friends. Y'all have heard it. but she would literally message me and say, stop messaging me during the day. My phone is off. And when I turn it back on and I have 37 messages from you about all the follow-up conversations I have not been having because I've been in therapy, it's not helpful. Andrea, why don't you write down all the things that you want to say to me, and then we'll pick out the most important things whenever I'm off work in the 15-minute drive home. So I just want to say it's okay to know what people's boundaries are. Roz did the same thing with me. Obviously, I have lots of time on my hands. I can bother everybody. But Roz would say, I have lunch. I have 15 minutes in car lines after school. Like, she would tell me when I could message her. I mean, one time she like had to step into like a custodial closet to like answer my question because she wasn't allowed to be talking to me. So find out what their boundaries are and when is a good time for y'all to, connect every day. And then you have to stay as accountable to them as you want them to be to you. So if you have a brand ambassador that's working the business and you want them accountable, you have to set a reminder I'm going to check in with Tina and find out how it's going today. I'm going to check in with Lauren and see how it's going today, and just do a quick check. Make sure they know you're still there. You're available for questions and answers, and that you'll be back again the next day. Okay, that's a lot, but I would just say pick something. Like, if you are someone who's working full time and you're listening to this and that felt really overwhelming, pick one thing that you loved about this call and go run with it. And then message the person who's your sponsor and let them know, hey, I can't do a lot of what I heard on that call, but I do like the idea of this. Will you help me set it up, hold me accountable to it for 1 week? Let's see if it works, whatever it is. Okay, I don't want you to put in the chat, but on the table, which is where we share Monday Masterclass, will you go under the graphic for this week and actually put one thing in there that has been like kind of an aha moment? I also want everyone, we're going to do this because we never do this. I'm closing the chat. I'm opening this up big. Oh, please. And we're going to smile and we're going to take a picture. If you can turn your camera on real fast, because we never take pictures of these calls, and I'm going to commit myself to taking pictures of all the leadership calls that we are all doing to grow our businesses and committing to. So I'm giving everyone just a second if they want to turn their camera on. Just remember, I have no makeup on, and my hair is half flat, half curly. So we can all do this. We can all go diamond. Okay, ready? We're going to all smile. Oh, look, everybody's going to be on. I'm so excited. Okay, we're going to smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got a picture. I will tag y'all in it. I'm so grateful that you were on this call today. I'm grateful to just have y'all on the team. And I can't wait to see what y'all put as your takeaway on the graphic on the table. And we'll see you next Monday. Bye, y'all.